against us. They hate our souls. They hate us. They hate our righteous indignation. They hate the exhortation that dwells in us. They hate our love for the They hate our conviction. They hate the fact that we repented. They hate the fact that we're truthful, honest, and bold. They hate our courage. Them devils hate us. We're not finna line ourselves up with these weirdos and freaks. With these weirdos and freaks. They working against us. They hate our souls. Weirdos and freaks. But these weirdos and freaks, they working against us. They hate our souls. Nubreed.
Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, and in the power of his might put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints.
Undoubtedly, the one you call Jesus Christ was a black man. He was melanated. He had hair like wool. He had a deep voice. He was dark skinned. He wasn't only just a black man. He was a dark skinned man. He wasn't brown. He wasn't light skinned. No, Christ was dark. We're talking about Wesley Snipes, dark. So let's make that clear. That's how he's described biblically. I don't know who this character is that they put up, but clearly the Most High God ain't happy with it. What my man Sizzler say? We serve no white God. I'm sorry, he's not white. Christians, I know that you have a hard time accepting this. You have a hard time understanding that Christ is the same image as your sons, as your uncles, as your father, as your grandfather, as the man that you dealt with. Yeah, he came in that same image. His lineage and bloodline is of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He comes through the lineage of David. He was a black man, all right? There's no doubt about it. In some extra biblical text, on record, on file, it even goes into race attributing to his crucifixion. because of the things he was bringing to the world. They even say his race contributed to his crucifixion. Now, let's make that clear. And if you have a problem with that, if you have an issue with that, so be it. But make this clear. Regardless of what your nationality is, your color, kindred, or creed, if you choose not to remember Christ as the scriptures have said, that's on you. You have to take that up with the Lord. But you see how the Lord is dealing with false idols.
Are you children of Israel? We are the biblical Israelites. Let's shine our light on this entire world and let them know that we're not standing for these 2/3 and their evil intentions for us. And we're not falling for the tricks and the charades. It's time that we rise up, honor the law, statutes, and commandments written up in that Bible, and stay on the right direction.
What's good, everybody? It's your brother Nubreed coming through with another live stream. Peace and blessings to everybody joining. I see Ebony Hamwright in the building. Yesha Judah, Night Guy. Azim Shabazz in the building. God's Property. Hey, what's going on? What is going on? Lady Love, it's her first time catching a live stream. Nice to meet you. The real G Gotti is in the building. What's up, BD Jack? Unity J. Straight out of the mud is in the building. FBA Strong is in the house. Chosen Ones is in the building. All right. I'm glad y'all catching another broadcast. Peace and blessings to everybody joining. I got a real serious question I want to ask everyone of the Truth Intelligence community. And I want to know what y'all think. What's going on in the country right now? Is it the beginning of martial law? It sure seems that way. It sure seems like we should start preparing and networking with like-minded people, getting the excess of certain materials, because when you look at what's going on, I don't see it stopping. I don't know about y'all, but as of late, Donald Trump just deployed the National Guards to Portland, Oregon. Now, this one is rather interesting because this all started off with a fight against crime. And it was more so focused on Black people. Let's just keep it a buck. The whole campaign started off with going into the hood, going against melanated folks. They started off in Washington, D.C., set up shop in Chicago. They're threatening to go to Louisiana. But now all of a sudden, Portland, Oregon, ladies and gentlemen. And see, I said this when all of this first started, when Trump first started tyranny tiptoeing. I said, all you MAGA supporters, all you white Christians out there, you better look out. And not even just white Christians. I said, white people in general. I said, don't be surprised if he starts sending the National Guards to a city near you. How many of y'all, my day ones, remember me saying this? How many of y'all, when this all first started, everybody was like, get those criminals. Get them off the streets. But now they're going to Portland, Oregon. And you would not believe who they're looking for. They're looking for Antifa. Apparently, there's a lot of Caucasian people who are protesting out there. Now, there's a lot that I can say about what's happening right now. There's a lot of manufactured crises that are taking place. I would recommend that nobody get a part of any of these groups. Don't join no Antifa. Don't join no MAGA. Don't join nothing. How about try following God? Try following God. Don't get caught up in any of these movements. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Now, there's a lot going on right now in Portland, Oregon. I mean, it's already getting chaotic out there. And we got some breaking news because Trump dropped this bombshell this morning that there will be troops deployed to Portland. And this was very random, very random. It seems like every single day we got some random news breaking out of this guy just sending troops somewhere. Let's go.
Ago, President Trump sending troops to Portland. He made the announcement on Truth Social, and it read in part at the request of Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. I am directing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland. Now, I remember this well. I remember 2020. There's a lot of violence in Portland. There was a courthouse that folks tried to set on fire, and President Trump deployed federal law enforcement there. I was his press secretary at the time. Here's what I said.
So now, you know, they're going after quote unquote white liberals. And it's quite interesting because this no longer has become a battle against just marginalized people, right? You have the government literally split in two. That's what you have right now. They're literally going to war with each other. You can call it a cultural war, a cultural civil war. Actually, that's what the news referred to it as, a cultural civil war. And it's interesting to see it all unfold, right? Because a land divided can't what, ladies and gentlemen? A land divided can't stand. But let's go.
By any objective standard, the violence, chaos, and anarchy in Portland is unacceptable. Yet Democrats continue to put politics above peace while this president seeks to restore law and order. Now, someone who was there with me in the White House at that time was Katie Miller. She's the host of the Katie Miller podcast. She has a long track record in the Trump administration. Katie, you and I were there in the summer of 2020. We remember how dangerous Portland got, and they still have crime problems today. What do you make of the president's action?
You know, the greatest difference between President Trump's first term and his second term is that we're not waiting for there to be set fires in Portland. As President Trump said in 2020, it's an anarchist jurisdiction. So what do you do with an anarchist jurisdiction? You deploy as many troops as possible. You gain control quickly, and you say, we are coming for you, and we will not allow the riots in the street like we did in the summer of 2020. This is President Trump's country, and he has promised to make sure that every American feels safe, and that includes our brave law enforcement, who's been the subject to too many violent attacks, whether that be what happened this week or weeks before that. It is not acceptable to attack law enforcement who are just carrying out the duty that Congress has charged them with. And President Trump has said no more. And by doing this action today, he's not waiting for it to get worse. He is going to protect our brave men and women who serve our country.
You know, this is getting very crazy, man. Hey, KC Nikki says Portland is dangerous? ? Right, it's dangerous for white liberals right now. See, I got a little grin on my face because I think it's a little bit funny that they went from wanting to deport all the Hispanic people, then targeting black people, and now they targeting white liberals. I'm talking about progressive liberals. There's a lot of LGBTQ plus, but they all white in Portland and Oregon. So, I don't know. We could call this ethnic purging, but now it's becoming cultural purging. Now I'm laughing, but it's really not funny. I mean, I'm laughing because I warned a middle America that this was what was coming. I warned middle America. And I'm going to say this is a very bold statement that I'm about to make because it seemed like these people are not going to stop. This country looks like it's going to have martial law against law-abiding citizens, just regular, everyday law-abiding citizens. Because when does this stop? Now, who you voted for, when you went down to the voting to cast your vote, if you went liberal or Democrat, now your life is in danger.
Now your life is in danger. Now riot squads can pull up because you decided to vote left. This is crazy. But you know, me, I don't choose a side. I'm just sitting back watching the show. Somebody says Portland is dangerous. LOL. Well, it's dangerous for white liberals, for sure. For sure. But let's go.
Katie, I'm really glad that you made that the focus, the brave men and women, because at that time in Portland, back in 2020, I remember vividly when protesters tried to light a courthouse on fire, and there was federal law enforcement in and around this. And President Trump does have the authority to deploy National Guard to federal property to protect federal assets. And Katie, I just saw yesterday ICE agents who were followed, people giving out their address, the attacks on ICE facilities. You worked at DHS. Tell us what you know about ICE agents, DHS officials, these folks who put it all on the line and incur what you're looking at, this kind of violence.
Gavin Newsom is the first one who's demonized our great ICE law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line every single day to do the job that, again, Congress has charged them to do. And by President Trump taking this action today and saying we are not going to wait for it to be worse. And what happened in 2020 is, right, law enforcement served as crowd control measures. Yes, they made over 1,000 arrests back in 2020. But by doing this action.
Yeah, they said Ice Cube's bus just got bombed in Portland. They say that I'm gonna cover everything that's going on in Portland. Y'all just be patient. I'm gonna get to this. But see, my whole goal is to show you how all this anarchy and chaos you see going on can lead to martial law. That's the whole point. Listen, far as your political views, that don't have nothing to do with it. I don't care. What I'm trying to show you is that there's a lot of manufactured crisis going on, and there's a lot of chaos going on, and it looks like some freedoms are going to be lost at the end of all of this. But let's continue.
Today, he's saying that we're not going to wait. We're going to come quickly and come hard. And by doing that, you're protecting the ICE law enforcement in the field, because if you are greenlighting even a little bit of an ounce of attack against them, you don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, maybe we do, and we saw that what happened with our friend Charlie Kirk. But when you take quick and swift action, you are going to stand up for all.
Another manufactured crisis would be the Charlie Kirk situation, and we're going to get into that. Right after this stream, we're going to be streaming again, talking about what really happened with Charlie Kirk. Oh, man, y'all don't want to miss that one. But let's continue.
Men and women who today are on the streets arresting illegal aliens and ensuring their deportation, which is exactly what President Trump said he was going to do, is remove every illegal alien present in this country. And who's doing that? That is ICE. And we must all stand together with the people who are serving our great country.
Yeah, it seems like it's problem, reaction, solution being done. Trump don't plan on leaving that White House. He's spending millions of dollars on ballrooms. He's getting statues and permanent fixtures put in the White House. It looks like we thought that it was nothing but the left going to create chaos. But man, you know, me, I believe the whole system is bound to erupt, left or right. I don't care. But what we see in here is it looks like in these few short months that Trump been in office, he didn't push far as, you know, more chaos than we seen in the last 4 years. He didn't push more chaos than the last 4 years. That's 100. That's regardless of what political side you think of. I don't care, like I said. But anyway, let's go.
Katie, I only have a few moments here, but I love listening to the Katie Miller podcast because I know you as a friend, and it's really cool because I feel like I'm getting to know the new Trump administration as a friend. I saw your conversation with J.D. Vance. You asked some really fun questions. What is the most exciting thing you've learned about a Trump administration official?
The greatest thing I really learned is how friendly they are with one another, which is such a change from the first administration, is that this time President Trump has truly picked a cabinet who enjoys hanging out with each other, whether that be on Air Force One or at dinners or on girls' nights together, because President Trump has selected such a diverse cabinet that.
Yeah, Trump reminds me of Nebuchadnezzar, Nimrod, King Herod, and the Pharisees. All in one. That's right. Ash Flores, you said it. This man believes he's king of the world, man. If whatever, listen, we'll get into it because there's a lot going on in Portland, but we're going to go there.
more women than ever before.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch. Like my friend Caroline Levitt and Margot.
Well, you know, these MAGA women are the problem. The MAGA women are the problem. They're the biggest problem. Them MAGA women, they're the ones really behind the scenes marrying this type of behavior, raising little white supremacist babies. Yeah, it's the women. It's the MAGA women. They're the reason why there's so many mass high-profile white shootings going on. It's MAGA women. It's the women. Telling you that right now. Don't let them fool you, y'all. The women is the ones putting the battery in these folks' backs. Right? Now, there's a lot going on in Portland because this could definitely lead to martial law. So let's get to it.
12 Oregon. This is breaking news.
Good morning. It is 8 o'clock. We're following breaking news out of Southeast Portland, where a food cart exploded.
Fox 12's Mackenzie Richmond is live on the scene. Mackenzie, the damage we've seen is just incredible. Any word what caused this explosion?
Yeah, actually, just within the last seconds here on the scene, I spoke with a fire investigator who's been here for a few hours now, who says, based on preliminary information, it appears to be an accidental propane leak explosion. That is what led to all of this damage now that you're seeing here around and behind me. The exact cause, though, is still under investigation. But again, as I mentioned, that is based on preliminary investigation and evidence, really. But enough that the investigator said this huge explosion actually made him jump when he was watching back the security footage. Now, this all happened here at the Springwater food carts in Southeast Portland, right along 82nd and Harney. Now, one food cart exploded and then damaged in total 7 other food carts, that totaling 8 food carts completely damaged, and then 2 buildings here that are permanently on the property. Now, this is all.
Now, I listen to how the news cover these stories. And, you know, it's like when they want to generate frantic and panic in a particular area, you see the news correspondents, you hear them sound in a certain way. And like, I don't see no explosion here, but I'm pointing out something because I want y'all to understand how fake a lot of the stuff is that you're seeing, right? It's all manufactured crisis. Like these people have another agenda. They're coming after law-abiding citizens. This is about control.
According to Portland Fire, again, we're taking a look at this extensive damage right now. The cart blew up and fragments of it you can see now scattered everywhere. In fact, this hood right here below us, it blew off with such force that it flew over this building, this light white blue building, over the hood of it, over the roof of it rather, and then it had.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, you got to ask yourself, how did this make mainstream news? How did this make Fox News? This baby explosion. Why are they trying to create confusion, man? 2 Esdras 5 and 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be offset out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and mistress women shall bring forth monsters. That's right. That's the MAGA women. They bringing forth monsters, and they call. And listen, the media is help create confusion all around. No doubt about that.
Had to be dragged back into the fire investigation, taped off scene. Windows on the building also shattered, the doors completely warped. Not a single one of the walls now back at the food cart that exploded are still on, just now in pieces scattered across this food cart property. Amazingly enough, though, with all said and done, the eggs are still in one piece, truly against all odds. Thankfully, though, with all of this damage you're taking a look at right now,
God saved them eggs, though. The eggs are good, y'all. Everybody, the eggs are good. Eggs are good. Yeah. Yo, why are they trying to make us believe it's going down in Portland? Why are they trying to make us believe it's a war zone in Portland? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Let's go.
No reported injuries. I do want to just mention that the first call came out around 4:40 this morning. Crews immediately got to the scene and were able to get this fire under control and completely extinguished. But now you can see all the tape around the scene. There is an active investigation underway. One of the food carts actually in this pod, though, was supposed to open at 7, so an hour ago now. And I just spoke with one of the employees who said that.
I mean, look, so the National Guards is coming out there to look for somebody. And the most radical story I could find is some eggs that made it through some explosion. And then when you see, ladies and gentlemen, why was the National Guard deployed to Portland, Oregon? I mean, come on now, MAGA. Y'all in the building, y'all MAGA, y'all know this is getting a little bit ridiculous. Keep it 100. Y'all know this is getting weird. Now y'all go look, Matt. Listen, now the rest of America feeling what we felt when they was messing with us in our communities when our crime rates were down. See, now y'all get to see how we feel. And for somebody in the chat that says, I like your take on spiritual stuff. Don't drink the Kool-Aid talking politics. Listen, politics, when you know what's going on politically and geopolitically, you're aware of what's going on in the world. I have plenty of content where I'm giving you that spiritual voltage, and you're going to get plenty more of that. So the good thing about this here platform, you have a lot to choose from. So if you're not subscribed, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot that you can find on this platform. Just hit that subscribe button. But nonetheless, thank you for your comment and your input, though. I do appreciate you. But let's go.
She got the call about the explosion and thought they were originally going to be closed for the day, but then got a call from her boss about an hour ago saying, well, they're open for business.
Y'all think Antifa did this? What y'all think? Antifa blew something up, but they ain't even get the eggs? What y'all think?
Because their cart is not blocked off by the investigation. So she rushed in and was completely shocked, jaw-dropping to just see all of this damage with her own eyes where she works. Thankfully, though, their cart was not damaged, though there were a few items, she said, that had fallen inside the cart because of just how massive the explosion was.
Yeah, you definitely need the National Guards for this. They definitely needed the National Guards. I'm convinced. Y'all convinced? I'm convinced, man. Yeah, they needed the National Guards for sure. I mean, no question. Yeah, he woke up this morning and said, "What? An explosion happened in Portland, Oregon? What was it? Electric, gas? Don't matter. It's Antifa. Send the National Guards." Now, this is interesting here. Because a former House Speaker says we are in a cultural civil war, says former House Speaker. Let's go.
Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House and a Fox News contributor. Speaker, I've been hoping to get you on for the last couple of weeks since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, because when you consider that, when you consider the attack against the ICE facility in Dallas on Wednesday, this flyer that William Lajeunesse.
Look, it's like middle America don't know who they're going to war with. This ICE facility was hit up by another one of their own. They don't know what to do. It's like they don't know where the enemy is at. So they just sending the National Guards everywhere. It seems like a lot of misappropriated military power to me.
Was talking about from a 30,000-foot level, where are we as a nation and where are we headed?
Well, I mean, first of all, you'll notice that when they talk about violence, they don't go back and look at the summer of 2020 when buildings were being burned down, police stations were being burned down, people were being killed. Somehow that violence, which was clearly political, doesn't count in their listing. The left has a long history of violence. In the 1960s, the FBI reported 2,500.
The left and the right have a long history of violence. Ooh, the left and the right. They're all white supremacists who are gung-ho and fixated on world dominion, and they always been violent. They've been violent from the beginning. The forefathers of this country were violent. When they came over here, they pillaged, destroyed, killed, mutilated, graped. Did I say graped? Because they did a lot of graping too. But they always been vile, violent, disgusting predators. They always been that way. So Left, right, I don't care. Both, two wings, same bird. Let's go.
Bombing attempts in the United States, and we sort of brushed all that off and forgotten about it. But there's a deep tradition on the left of people who hate American society, hate the concept of freedom, have all sorts of negative words to describe us, and feel that they are empowered to go out. The Democrats you quoted about Antifa. Antifa has been causing a nightmare in Portland for years.
Yeah, they need to get them all. And get them all, round them all up. Get all those progressive liberals out there with their mask and letter A's drawn on them. Get them. Get them out of there. For real, get them out of there. Listen, I know that the word Antifa actually means anti-fascist, but apparently they turned that into some group organization. I don't trust none of their groups or organizations. So I'm telling my people, don't get involved in none of that. So y'all don't get caught up. Because the military do have the authority to utilize deadly force. Yes, indeed. In 2025, actually it was last year, there was a bill that was passed in 2024 where the military can use deadly force. So don't get involved in none of these damn groups, none of these meetings. None of these organizations. Let them all just be heathens and just brutalize and destroy each other. And we just gonna sit back and talk about it. That's what we gonna do. That's what we gonna do on our side. We gonna pray to our God that he protects us. And we gonna let these people do what they doing. That's what we gonna do.
Bring things down. To suggest that Antifa doesn't exist, I think requires living in a fantasy land.
You know, in the hours after Charlie Kirk's assassination, Spencer Cox, the governor of Utah.
Are they responsible for hitting Charlie Kirk? I don't know. Because from what I've researched, we're going to talk about that later. But let me not be long-winded. Let's continue.
Utah said this. Listen to this statement here.
I absolutely believe that this is a watershed in American history, yes. The question is what kind of watershed? And that chapter remains to be written. Is this the end of a dark chapter in our history or the beginning of a darker chapter in our history?
What do you think about that? Charlie Kirk's assassination, it would seem to represent the latter and not the former.
Yeah, look, I think we have to recognize that we are in a genuine, legitimate cultural civil war. There are people on the left, largely big government socialists with weird values, who are sincere. I mean, they really do feel that with the rise of President Trump and the rise of MAGA and having Republicans in charge of the House, the Senate, and the executive branch, that their entire way of life is imperiled. Because the world they wanted to create, the world that Barack Obama and Joe Biden was helping them create, was a world which had open borders, had no police or very weak police, had no bail, had.
Let me see. Let me respond to this comment here. It says, figure out what side you on, bro. You always switching up. No. You got me twisted. What's your name? Nah, Lizzie, you don't know me. See, I'm what you would call a political analyst who doesn't care for either side. That's what you're dealing with. When you come over here, you're dealing with somebody who serves the Most High God that goes right down the middle. I'm only captivating the current moment of society that we're in. So we as God's people can move accordingly. You got me wrong. Don't tell me to pick no side, ma'am. I'm looking at all this white on white crime, high profile white on white crime. I'm over here minding my business, giving my perspective from a black man's perspective. And I'm telling you that I speak for all us foundational black American men. We don't care. We sitting here watching this like we are at all. So I'm unapologetically not choosing a side. Right? But I want you to stick around, enjoy the commentary. You may learn something new. Let's go.
Criminals wandering around, had men and women's lockers, the whole route. Just think about all the different values that the left had accumulated over the last half century. And all of that is now being washed away by an American people. When you combine big government socialism and radical values, you're at about 20% maximum. There's a poll out today. Democrat Party favorability is down to 30%. Gallup last month had it down to 30%.
Look, we shouldn't be. I'm gonna say this though. We shouldn't be getting used to seeing military police everywhere like this. In every state, there's military police apprehending people, putting zip ties on people, throwing them in the back of vans. Y'all think that's a normal thing that we should be seeing on the news constantly? Psychologically, what do y'all think that's conditioning the people for? I want y'all to really consider this, right? All you free thinking people out there, psychologically, what is this preparing the American people for? Every time we turn on the news, you see military police capturing people. A lot of these military police got masks on. It's not normal. It's not normal. Let's go.
34%, and that's because that's the core. That they may eventually get down to about 20, based on work we do at America's New Majority Project. But those folks do feel genuinely that they're embattled, and I think we have to recognize this is not going to go away until the country makes a decisive decision.
So,
by the way, the footage they're showing is from Minneapolis 2020. You know, none of this is happening in Portland, Oregon right now. So for the record, the news is showing old footage after the George Floyd murder. That's what they're showing right now.
The White House, President Trump, and the DOJ want to look into the funding behind these protest groups. The DOJ has instructed a half a dozen U.S. attorneys' offices to look into where the funding flows down from. And in terms of that ICE detention facility protest in Portland, Oregon, here's what J.D. Vance said about it the other day. Listen here.
I believe it was in Oregon where you had a federal building where there were men in black ski masks who were committing acts of violence, who were shutting down a government building.
Yeah, the reason they keep showing y'all old footage because it's not a damn thing really happening in Portland, Oregon. At least that's what I think. They're just trying to program the people to accept these people being able to go to any state they want, even white states. I already told you, white folks, y'all was laughing. Y'all was like, yeah, go to DC, go to Chicago, get those savages, get those criminals. The blacks are out of control. That's what y'all was saying. And the whole time I'm like, y'all think that he's only coming after us? No, he will be in white communities. I wouldn't be surprised if they be in Utah next. See, there's something more ominous taking place. I wouldn't be surprised if y'all out there getting y'all's falafels, riding y'all's bicycles in the middle of Utah. I wouldn't be surprised if you out there and military start harassing y'all. Yeah. This is what martial law looks like. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Real 80s. MAGA trust the government so much that they will let federal troops tread everywhere and anywhere in the U.S. That's what I'm trying to point out as well, man. Exactly. Are y'all really that under the spell that y'all don't see nothing wrong with this? I know that Trump is your Lord and Savior, but y'all don't see nothing wrong with this. See, the Bible talks about a strong delusion. There's a lot of people with a strong delusion.
To the president's point, they don't come from nowhere. These are paid people. This is organized. They're committing acts of political terrorism on American soil.
We know that people are paid to protest. There's a group out of D.C. called Crowds on Demand that says its phone is ringing off the hook. So that is a no-brainer. But are people also being paid by other organizations to engage in violent protest, do you believe?
Oh, I think that there are people who subsidize groups who are basically advocating violence. And I think you're going to find, by the reports we see in public, you may well find that Soros's foundation is behind a great deal of this. But clearly, if you're going to go after this kind of terrorism and this kind of intense commitment to violence, you have to look at two places. You have to look at the money, and you have to look at the internet. I think we're going to discover that there are entire layers on the internet that are being used for the purpose of radicalizing people, moving them towards violence, convincing them.
And they're white people. They're white people. And you know, see, the internet is going to be a huge target. That's why I'm vocally, actively, loudly, and proudly telling you, brothers and sisters, don't join none of these private chats. Don't join MAGA. Don't join the left. Don't join the right. Don't pick Groypers. Don't pick Turning Point. Don't pick none of it. Choose God. Choose God. Because what this is boiling down to is they really want to threaten freedom of speech. And there's going to be a lot of catch-22s, a lot of Ricos. That's right. There's going to be a lot of things under surveillance. Stuff is already, everything's under surveillance. They see everything. They know everything. They got their all-seeing eye. If you're in these private groups, they know what group you a part of. They know who to target. They know all of that. I'm telling you. So everybody who follows my platform, I'm saying follow God, follow Christ, and keep it true.
That they have a mission to go out and kill somebody. And I think we have to see all of this as a pattern, not just a series of individual stories, but a pattern of violence across the nation, largely motivated by a handful of people, many of them very wealthy, who want a radically different America.
They're wealthy people. See, you got rich versus rich. These are white people problems. Rich white people problems, too. The government is at war with itself right now. That's what's happening.
And know that they're not going to get it in an open, free debate.
Frightening situation. Mr. Speaker, as always, thank you.
Yeah, the whole country is frightened. The whole middle America, they're in a frightening situation.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate your time, sir.
Now, I'm going to tell you what this looks like to me, right? I want to share with y'all something because people may be thinking that giving a stretch when I talk about martial law. There's something interesting I want to show you. I don't know if y'all remember this show right here, but it came on True TV back in the day. They removed it from TV, but I happen to have a particular episode of this show. And this is the reason why I believe martial law is coming. This show was called Conspiracy. Jesse Ventura. This is just part one of his show about police state, FEMA camps. This is part one of 3. Now, I find this rather important to pay attention to because the stuff you're seeing right here, this was done years ago. I believe this show came out almost, even 20 plus years ago. This show is 20 plus years old. All right. It's 20 plus years old. Let me see. Cam Zen says your platform ain't going around uplifting people to become more holy and unsinful. Oh, you must be new to my platform. Go check my videos. I talk about putting away sin all the time. Go look at my videos. Go through my archives. On Mondays, we do Motivational Monday. We go through the scriptures. I don't know. Maybe you're new to the platform. But welcome though. And listen, thank you for your feedback. Hopefully you learned something. Now I want y'all to check this out. Very interesting stuff. Jesse Ventura conspiracy theory. Police state. The city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed. And men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity on his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So right there, it describes rioting, looting, chaos, and even military takeover. So, this is something that seems to be going on. Once a lack of bread hits, austerity measures hit, could we be looking at the beginning of martial law? It starts off with taking away our freedoms. Exactly. Now, a lot of these centers been set up for a long time, for years. You know, could they be preparing to round up people who don't want to fit into the social status or social cues of everyone else? People who are free thinkers. They've already created a place where people are in situations where they're dealing with betrayal. See, refuse to choose a side. You choose Christ. You don't choose to be worshiping the government, right or left. I'm telling y'all, this stuff is very possible. We know those in Christ will be targeted in these days. That's why we're supposed to be networking, coming together, building with one another. I'm going to say this. Just because the world powers have been preparing these type of atrocities, this genocide, doesn't mean they're going to be successful. Doesn't mean that. But we do know, according to the Georgia Guidestones, which God struck with lightning a couple years ago, they plan to bring the world population under 500,000, pretty much making it so it's only their elite left, while they'll have AI serving them, right? This is what they want. And I know it sounds crazy, but there is diabolical plots that happen behind the scenes, such as this. Absolute power corrupts. Somebody said this video was like 10 years old. No, this video is older than 10 years old. This video is more like 20 gang stalking hubs too. In case you're unfamiliar with gang stalking is, it's pretty much organized mobbing. Because once you become a targeted individual, once you placed on one of these lists, these people can be relentless and they'll label you a threat and you won't even know you've been blacklisted. You won't even know that you was labeled a threat based on some political affiliation. So this stuff is real. This stuff is real. Oh, so the show came out in 2009. So yeah, I thought it was over 20 years ago, but it was nearly 20 years ago. 15, 16 years ago. I got it right. Them ICE centers, them ICE detention centers, those are the new fusion centers. Those are our modern fusion centers. Facts. Because ICE, y'all got to understand, ICE has expanded its duties. They're not just going after immigrants. When ICE was, when they set up that naval base in their teenagers to be experimented on, letting military come snatch them up in the middle of the night. Like, this stuff is real, man. This stuff is absolutely real. But of course, what the scriptures tell us, though, 2 Esdras 2:27, be not weary. And when the day of trouble and heaviness cometh, others shall weep and be sorrowful. And thou shalt be merry and have abundance. The heathen shall envy thee, and they shall be able to do nothing against thee, saith the Lord. They're not finna be able to do nothing against us. They can't do nothing. They can't do nothing against us when we walking upright, when we got our God protecting us, when we doing exactly what it is we supposed to do, navigating and following the Holy Spirit as the Most High would have us. These people can't do nothing to us. This is going to happen to people who take the venom and let these people scramble your minds. This is for the people who take that mark of the beast. This is for people who drink the Kool-Aid. This is for the people who drink the Kool-Aid. We're not drinking the Kool-Aid over here. Over here on this platform, we keep a grounded, very level-headed approach to all of this. We let it be known as very real. And we let it be known the importance of networking with elite people who can see. Those who want to connect under Christ, because that's what it's about. We connect under the Messiah, under Christ. Under the one they call Jesus Christ. Some call Yahweh.